What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here once again with
Gershwan.
And we're back at it, answering more questions in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the question left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. We also have super thanks. If you want to support the channel, you can with a super thanks. You could ask us anything on that super thanks and we will guarantee answer it in the next episode and we'll make it a thumbnail question. And this question comes from Ian Mader N980. What is your favorite part of the hobby? Painting, modeling, playing, reading, learning, lore?
So that's one of the cool things about this hobby is there's so many avenues to explore. You can create mind-bending original lore, read up the original lore from the creators of Space Marines and all these other factions. It's not just one or a few characters. This is a whole universe. You can play these awesome games, go to tournaments, convert. There are so many cool things. But I think the best thing about this hobby is the friends we make along the way.
That is one aspect of 40K that's pretty cool. The tabletop specifically is that you see these people live consistently. We have a group that meets together every Sunday. If it wasn't for 40K, we probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, we'd be seeing each other a lot less.
A whole lot less. Because sometimes even like trying to get them to go to the movies is impossible. Mm-hmm. So but tabletop and just talking about 40K, I think, is really strong.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, like you said, it's not a game where you're playing over the headset in the internet across miles and countries and stuff. You're literally playing with them, right across the table with you. And you guys can just sit and talk and paint and just catch up with life. It really is a hobby that pits the human aspect more so than like you would think.
Which is funny because I feel like Warhammer 40K players get this stigma of being
antisocial and just like weird and awkward.
But we see each other a lot in the hobby shop. We have like physical one-on-one contact where we have like these little like non-verbal cues that we have to pick up on and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's weird that it happens. Even though we went to a third-party store last week when we went to, mm-hmm. And like the people there were kind of standoffish.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you don't know somebody, you're not going to go up to them and be like, "Hey, you're into the hobby too. Let me mansplain everything."
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you guys that my least favorite part of Warhammer 40K is actually playing the game.
Yeah, it's funny because you get yourself pumped up with these amazing videos people put out, animations, stories, lore, and then you play the game and it's like, whew. That was grueling. I've been standing up for 5 hours.
And we're only done setting up.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty bad when you do have, you have an expectation in your mind and you get to the tabletop and you realize, oh, this is just not what I imagined. I imagined it like a cinematic trailer, mm-hmm. when in reality it's just us standing here, like our backs hurt from like moving the minis and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're playing 3D checkers or chess.
Slow 3D checkers and chess.
Yeah.
And then obviously, because we have One Mind Syndicate, for me, the lore initially was my favorite part of the hobby. But then because it became kind of like a job, mm-hmm. I don't enjoy it as much. Now that I've taken a break from like creating lore videos, I'm getting back into it.
Yeah, that's the one cool thing about this hobby. Whenever you get burnt out on one aspect, there's always another.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, let us know what you guys like the most about Warhammer 40K.
Next one.
We got one by I Am Mandriand 980. First person to comment, I love this series and I have been a fan for a couple years. Keep up the great work, Vatos. We will. And now for his actual question. What's your favorite part? Oh, never mind.
Was that part of the
It's the same one.
Really? That's
Yeah,
funny.
it is.
Thanks for the support, though. It's awesome that you guys have been listening to us for so long. Recently, I've been editing some of our old, the beginning of One Mind Syndicate, like the Greater WAAAGH questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, guys? Welcome to One Mind Syndicate. I am your host, Gershwan, and I'm here with
the Sound Alchemist.
And we are the voices behind the narrative Warhammer 40K 40 fact videos.
That's right.
So we were I was annoying. I feel like watching or hearing myself talk, it's like, ugh.
I think everybody's like that. It's like the voice you hear is different than the voice you hear in videos.
But even like I remember, because like we come from an era of like the old Chocolate Rain YouTube, like the
Yeah.
what's that one high pitched YouTube guy that got famous?
PewDiePie?
Not PewDiePie. It was like another guy, but basically where like your persona on screen was supposed to be super hyper and super animated, and it just doesn't work anymore. Partly because a lot of the 40K fans have grown up with us. I've noticed that we're all in our 30s. Nobody wants to hear like, "Hey guys, what's good?" like that kind of energy.
Even the like GW workers, like the employees, I feel like sometimes they come off too much like that. Oh, what brings you in here? Check out this awesome gun on this guy.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, just let me look and buy these overpriced minis.
But yeah.
So it's not a question, but this kind of ties in with everything. A lot of people are commenting because we asked the question, when is the best time to leave the 40K store? When do you know it's time to leave? And a lot of people are saying never. You go in and you support independent retailers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I think price-wise, why would you ever go to a Games Workshop store and buy something when you can just go to a third-party retailer and buy it there?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the stock of most third-party retailers is better than 40K. So like the 40K store. You go up you go in and the manager is super nice to you and he says, if you don't find anything, we'll order it for you and we'll have it shipped to your house. I can do that at home.
Yeah, quicker, faster, and a little bit cheaper, even if you go through Amazon.
Yeah, so even if you don't want to jump on the bandwagon of like, oh, I'm supporting like third party just because, they have better stock. They have better everything. They even have deals. We had a local gaming store that did a 50% off Games Workshop. Let that sink in.
50%. When you never see GW put any sales on anything at all. If anything, they bump up the price.
They had a Warhammer room, and that thing was cleared out.
The lines were outside. Like, I know I couldn't make it, but we were like texting you, hey, if you see this, pick it up. Hey, if you see that, pick it up.
I think the stuff that really didn't sell were the fantasy stuff. Warcry, and then like the weird Necromunda stuff, like the terrain and all that kind of stuff.
But still, for that price, I would pick it up just for conversions alone.
To this day, I feel like, why didn't I buy Chaos Space Marines? I mean, I've always thought they look cool, but 50% off, like I should have bought more.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's like prices you would see like 20 years ago.
I know. Because, we had that conversation of how a basic troop unit used to be $20, affordable for any kid. $60 now. Tell me what kid is going to be like, yeah, I got $60 in my pocket.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I got one from Mech Boy.
Yeah.
He says, leave the GW store when you see that there's no % off the figures. And when you see that they're only trying to force people to play 40K or buy specific GW stuff, there's so much more out there.
Yeah, it's hard to find good quality stuff, though. I've always had dreams of going into a third-party store and finding minis that are the same quality as like a Space Marine or, I don't know, anything Warhammer related, and I don't think you can.
Nowadays, with like 3D printing, you could find STLs that are like near identical to like 40K stuff.
But I think that's the problem with nowadays, like retail for mini war gamings or mini war games. Sure, you can 3D print your own at home, but that's not what you want. You want to go into a store, pick up a model, and leave. It's kind of the same dilemma of going into a Warhammer store and them saying, oh, this product isn't here, but we can order it for you. No, I could do that at home. Like if there was a third-party store that had 3D printers and would 3D print these really cool STLs or whatever, and you could just pick it up. So you can get like the what's a popular one, the Beast dudes or whatever that make demons.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like if you could just go to the store and say, hey, I wanted that like
creature caster, Kingdom
like,
Death,
that kind of stuff. If you could just go pick it up, you don't have to ask for it. I think that retail store might make money, but who knows?
Yeah, and then the whole legality of it too.
Yeah,
that's another thing. But yeah, definitely there are other things besides 40K that can enhance your games, especially when it comes to like terrain or conversions and stuff like that. And yeah, when you go to a 40K store or you enter like a GW sanctioned tournament, you do have to make sure that you're playing with entirely 100% 40K figures, or else you might be like disqualified and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, when do you enter the GW store? A lot of you say never.
Yeah.
Which we also have to like talk about the fact that like, yeah, you don't want to support GW, but you love everything GW does. So at what point is it too much where like, okay, everybody's boycotting, 40K, but we want more 40K. So it's like we have to find that weird balance.
And I think that's the problem with the fan base right now. It's really easy to say, oh, they're money hungry, they're woke, they're all this and that. But at the end of the day, like, people still play them, and it's the main faction. So it doesn't make sense, right? Like, you're saying fuck them, but at the same time,
give me more of what I like.
Yeah, giving them money. So it's like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, and like it's not a new thing that GW like increases prices. We've seen this time and time and time again.
Yeah,
it's not a new thing that like GW editions rise and fall, the popularity, the strength of all these armies. It's just a big cycle, and I feel like it'll never end.
True. The next question comes from Isaiah Chan. If you could choose something to retcon in 40K, what would it be?
So this is an interesting one because it was official and then it was retconned to not be. And I want it to be official again. So I'm retconning the retcon. And it's the short story where there is I think it's Corn Demon incursion on like a shrine world. And the Sisters of Battle are there fighting and they're losing. And so they call for backup and a force of Grey Knights appears. These Grey Knights are fighting, and for some reason they can't push back the demon horde. So they end up butchering the living Sisters of Battle, bathing in their blood, and this blood basically reinforces their psychic power to become more of an enemy or like a more anti-psyker, anti-demon force, and they just obliterate the demons on this planet. Does that make sense? No. But like, I think it was pretty badass, and it solidifies the grim dark aspect of 40K, where there's like no good guys.
Yeah, and it also highlights that concept of fire to fight fire.
A little bit, yeah.
Which the Inquisition does anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Ordo... Oh shit, I can't remember the Ordos now. Malleus does.
Yes.
For me, I think it would be awesome to retcon... Oh, wait. Well, yeah, retcon the fact that the Exorcist chapter is a successor chapter of the Ultramar. No, the Imperial Fist.
Imperial Fist, yeah.
I want the Exorcist chapter to be what they were originally, which is a successor chapter of the Grey Knights. And it's a bunch of blanks. So a bunch of blanks that existed within like the hierarchy of the Grey Knights, being sent over to create their own chapter, and now they're like an elite force of psyker fighting, it's a chapter that fights psychers. Yeah. Just like the Grey Knights, but with opposite weapons.
Yeah, because Grey Knights fight fire with fire, these would be fighting fire with water.
Yeah, see, smart.
But at the same time, how do you get a chapter of blanks from a all chapter of psychers?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, if Games Workshop would have taken that like creative leap and said, well, during the indoctrination process and all that kind of stuff, there are certain Space Marines, there are certain boys that are becoming Grey Knights and are found wanting, right? They're found like they're lacking that psychic ability. Or that psychic ability is actually like a nullifying ability, which is why they became special. So then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're gonna kill them because they can't be Grey Knights. You can't be a Grey Knight if you're a null. But instead they say, you know what? Send them to that one chapter that we have, because a chapter would be 1,000 Space Marines,
roughly. I mean, it doesn't have to be at full strength.
Yeah, and even like within 10,000 years, you can create a chapter of blanks like that. Or I know the Sisters of Silence and the Sisters of Silence are captured through the black ships.
Right.
So the same thing. But what if we find not a girl that's a blank, but a guy? What do we do then? We'll send them to the Exorcist chapter. So that kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see that work. As long as they find a way to like explain it and make it work, why not?
But Games Workshop decided to just say, no, never mind. They're a successor chapter of the Imperial Fist, and the concept of the blanks is completely out.
They're just vanilla now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would retcon. But those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk tomorrow.
That's right. As always, it's been the Sound Alchemist here with
Kirsch1.
And we'll see you then. Peace.
put my freedom first in any situation.